Hey there guys, welcome back to Let's Play 999, 9 persons, 9 hours, and 9 doors. We have 2 tiles out of an unknown quantity, and it seems like everything we yet need to know is in this room. First of all, we've got this stupid throws just like, oh, it won't open. I wonder if that's part of the puzzle. I bet it is. But there doesn't seem to be anything to do about it. And then we've also got... So there's a sun and a moon left and right. And we've also got over here 4 and 7. 4 on the left, 7 on the right. Over here it tells me that 14 equals E, which I have not actually found any useful information for. So again, sun and moon 4 and 7. Sun 4, moon 7. The other thing is, if you remember, there's a sun. Yeah, that's right. There's some kind of number hint there too. And maybe the number how many times we took a piss? How would it know that? So, I mean, oh, I'm glad he said that. I was just like, it's not indicating that this was the number how many times I need to flush. This puzzle someone wouldn't trigger by accident. So, second pull. So the sun was 4 and the moon was 7. But doesn't look like anything happened here. So I'm assuming nothing happened in here. Yeah, okay, I didn't think so. So, and then we have to go to the moon and do it 7 times? This is the moon symbol is pointing to, huh? Probably made it so someone would try by accident. 1, 2, 3. Here we go, flushing toilets on the internet. This is how my mom wanted me to spend my life. Conservative. What, are we doing, like, courtesy flushes here? Did you hear something in the other room? We haven't used a towel either. Yep, it opens now. Oh, there's 2 more tiles. There's a bunch of weird lines on this tile. So the reds are still on top. I don't get it. I think I can figure this out on my own. Okay, you're done. We get it. All right. Oh, well, it looks like we investigated all the rooms. The mystery left is that door. All right, well, let's crack that mystery then. There's a bunch of tiles same size up the wall here. So we place 4 of the tiles on the wall with the ones we got in that should open the door. These all look the exact same. E equals 14. Is it just telling me to replace the E's? I mean, that seemed arbitrary and weird. Why didn't it just say E is important? Looks like we did. The 14 hidden on the tile. If you convert it to hex, that's an E. There's a 14 hidden on the tile? But the E's and emergence are the 14s from the tiles. So we replace it, it gives up the answer. Man, do you really care why it works? Let's get out of here. I agree with that. I did find it. Although I didn't put together the 14 thing. I was just, you know, well, it said E, so let's try the E's. As the open door and headed to the next room. Junpei jogged down the short staircase and looked around.
Oh, what the hell is this place?
It looks like some sort of like control panel. The words sprung on Benja's lips, but it was clear why. Junpei shivered. Lesson 7 reached the bottom of the stairs and stopped short, terrified.
Oh, this room is really creepy.
I think we ought to get the hell out of here now.
He jogged up the stairs the opposite side, shook the door next to the cakewalk. Well, hey, the lock's on our side. Didn't open, he muttered to himself.
It's locked, isn't it?
Sure is.
Don't know why I thought this would be any different.
So, what is this room for, anyway?
Like I said, it looks like some sort of control panel, but it's not the bridge. Junpei looked around the room again.
Well, there's a chair in the center of the room.
Oh, looks uncomfortable to say the least. I'd rather not sit in it if I can avoid it.
The back of it was covered with electrodes connected to a nest of wire. Wait, is this... Based on the theme the game's had so far, is this the experiment they were doing to control people that we heard before? Because based on where this is in conjunction to the rooms we were in before, that would definitely allow Seven to hear the screaming that was going on in here. Additionally, it is entirely possible that I know that there was a lot of, especially around the 30s and 50s, there's a lot of discussion about whether electroshock therapy could change behavior. So if there are electrodes, this is probably a room meant to induce electric shocks around specific, like I wonder if you had like a CAT scan or a MRI and were able to like identify specific types of thoughts and gave shocks connected to them, if you could train people on how to think.
Looks like it's placed over some kind of glass panel. Too dark to look through it, though.
Junpei turned to look at the right side of the room. There was a table covered with a piece of cloth.
Dried blood on the tablecloth, is it?
Well, at least it's been here long enough that it's no longer contaminated. Top of the table were a number of metal instruments. Junpei didn't know what they were for, and the feeling he didn't want to find out.
Oh, what the hell is this?
That's a screwdriver and a mallet. And some
What are
forceps.
these tools for?
That's not something I even want to think about.
Junpei shook his head in an attempt to clear it, and tried to focus on something else.
No doubt about it. This room's dangerous.
Well, let's get
Search
dangerous.
quick so we can solve the puzzle and get the hell out of here. Come on.
All right. Well, I feel like we just found a way out and already wants us to do it again. I'm getting... Oh, Jesus, a torture room? I thought it was like an experimental room or a thought control room. There's something on the screen. The device will conduct the experiment. Once the experiment has been completed, the door will unlock. First, adjust the switches to match the blocks of the sample above. I don't know what this thing is, but we gotta figure out this puzzle. Well, it's right next to a torture chair. Where is it? I don't think it's good. What block? I don't even see any blocks. Just switch it on the four corners of the screen and press the check button. We don't know what this thing does. You can always come back to it later. There are lots of other things you could do. The more trouble with the switches, the more blocks show up on the screen. I think you gotta figure out which buttons you have to press in order to get the screen to match the diagram. I don't see a diagram! Well, yeah, but I need to see a diagram. Like, there's no indication as to what I'm supposed to be matching yet. It's a really creepy chair. Manacles make you think it was used to torture people. Well, we can't open the manacles without a key. There's some sort of weird symbol on them. Well, if I got it right, it's the sun symbol. a ton of knobs over there. Doesn't seem like anything can do anything, though. Do you think it's broken? Some buttons. You let A to F. Just push some of them. I'll press it again. Because the buttons do something on or off when you press them. What they can do is turn something on or off. What's important is what they turn on or off. Okay, so they won't move. See how much more of a man you are. Hey, you're going to break it. Man, that thing ain't going anywhere. What the hell? What's going on? Sounds like it's underneath us. That means oh! Junpei, look! Oh, damn. See the glass now. EDBF. There's a shark down there? Couple of letters, color of blood written on the shark's belly. So there's E, D, B, and F. Whatever there are four has to be in the room somewhere. D, B, and F. What? There's a strange noise coming from the chair. Looks like it's been turned on. I suppose it hears that the power had to be sent to a specific way. Why is there a shark under there? I thought there was a hole. I guess got a cover over it. It's rolled on there pretty good. Maybe there's something around here. You need to get that thing off of there. Do I see something shiny in there? Well, maybe. Well, I'll check though. It'd be pretty bad if we miss something important. Yeah, I mean, if we find something, we'll get the cover off. Wrench looks brand new. I've seen plenty of things that are a lot more cool than this. You're unexpectedly sensitive. That is, I mean, it's funny how Lotus is making fun of other people for being sensitive. She kind of goes manically behind being like extremely efficient and almost cruel to being a girl. Anything else we need? Well, I feel like I'm getting through this puzzle pretty dang quick. Also, you can't see even with the cover off. You can't see it. There's enough room to stick your arm in. Are you sure you want to do... Yeah, we did find a shark nearby. There could be something dangerous in there. Well, thanks, Lotus. Now I'm worried. Idiot. We need to see if there's anything useful in there. The hole. Hey, I think I can feel something. It's small, cold, and doesn't feel like there's anything else in here. There's the sun key. So I can undo the manacles, but does that really help me? But none of the doors... Yeah, we need to unlock the manacles for some reason. Alright, sun key, in you go. Great, they're open. I think we're gonna need the sun key again in here, though. Just seems unlikely. I don't know what blocks they're talking about. So I tried to make the top and the bottom both match, because I'm not really sure what the blocks on top mean. Okay. Like, I'm almost about to ask for a hint, only because I don't know what freaking blocks it's talking about. So that's not even a hint. That is... So I feel like it's going to have to be one of the... Okay, this doesn't really seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. Okay, that's it. Now proceeding to execution. Oh god, that is not a pleasant thing to hear. To complete the experiment, data must be collected from subject. Once preparation is finished, place subject in chair. Yeah, I kind of thought that that might be a thing that would happen. What does it mean by preparation? I don't know, I got a bad feeling about this. I don't think that means one of us gotta sit in the chair. Well, 7's not gonna fit in that thing. It's either you or me, Junpei. I wonder if it's gonna run electricity through the subject. There's a human head on the screen. Maybe it's gonna zap the brain with a little electricity? That really doesn't sound safe. We've still gotta prepare. We'll talk about this after we figured out what it means by preparation, alright? String device is unlocked. Please seat subject and device. So the screen was disturbingly detached.
Like you thought, it's not going to work unless someone sits in it.
How ironic that this would be the situation in which this slim, beautiful body is useful.
God damn it, Lotus.
Lotus, are you sure? I can sit in it and you can solve.
Junpei's right. If we screw it up...
Aw, Seven's surprisingly, like, concerned. Seven couldn't bring himself to finish the thought. His eyes fell to the floor. Junpei followed them. Beneath him was a dead shark floating underneath the glass. Perhaps it had been killed by electric shock.
Even if I fall in, the shark is already dead.
But
No one likes an indecisive man, Junpei. I can still give you advice from the chair too, you know.
Yeah, I think this is Lotus's, like, subtle way of being like, look, you're better at this than I
I
am.
just don't want to stay in this room any longer than we have to. Go over to that screen and let's get this over with.
After her words made it clear, Lotus would book no argument. She turned and walked towards the chair without hesitation. But she did not sit down. Despite what she had said, she did indeed feel hesitation. Her legs shook.
Look, do you think you could do me one last favor?
If you want me to close my eyes and still do this, it's going to be a no.
don't say last.
You're making me nervous.
Just listen. If something happens to me, I want you to tell my daughters.
Oh, don't do this. No.
Tell them that I loved them very much. No, tell them that I will always love them.
Daughters?
I mean, that's why everyone keeps talking about her being, like, old, even though I wouldn't have, like, placed that on her.
You've got kids?
Yes, I do. I suppose they're about your age, Junpei. They're twins. I had them when I was young after, well, some things happened.
Interesting. I feel like we're going into enough detail that something's going to come up with the daughter
Their
thing.
names are Nona and...
Wait.
Yeah, Nona. Nona was the name that Seven
Nona?
said. His words shut up before he even realized what he was saying. He remembered the story Seven had told him.
Aoi, Light, and Nona. Those were their names. Well, some of them. The kids that were in the experiment.
What the hell? What's wrong with you?
Looks like a step back from Junpei.
Oh,
Seven looked just as shocked as Junpei was. He blinked his eyes rapidly, as if he weren't sure whether he was completely
no,
awake.
it couldn't. Lotus, is your last name Kashiwabara?
That's quite the name. Lotus Kashiwabara. His eyes
How
went
do you know
wide.
that?
Are you serious? What the hell is this?
So like I said, I feel like almost everyone is involved in what happened 9 years ago. Although, apparently Lotus isn't. It's her daughters that
No
are.
way, you're that kid's mom.
That kid? Wait, what do you mean that kid? Why are you acting like you've met her?
Okay, Lotus, like, I know that the two of you are independent sprites, but your hand is in a very inappropriate location right now. No, not that one, the other one. Seven's brow furrowed.
I have.
What?
Yeah, I met one of your kids.
When?
9 years ago.
Where?
On this ship.
I'm kind of surprised that she hasn't put together...
Why were you...
It's not a short story.
It really isn't.
I don't care how long it is. Tell me, please, what happened here?
Fine, I'll tell you.
Do we get a, like, fade out and fade back in? The same story as Junpei. Okay, only minutes before, every detail.
But... And then... That was when...
Oh, wow, it really is word for word. They just recycled the sound files. LOL.
From there, it looked like... Just as if... Finally... That's all I remember from 9 years ago.
The last Seven finished. Lotus shook her head.
God. Everything I've been looking for the last 9 years. The person who had all the answers was right here.
Yeah, and you were busy, like, making fun of him.
For?
Yes, that's right. 9 years ago, my daughters disappeared.
Wow, they never came back from the
And
experiment?
9 days later, they came back.
Oh, well, never
They
mind.
never told me what happened to them over those 9 days. I took them to the doctor, but I was told they hadn't been hurt in any way. Still, I was sure that they had been through something terrible.
Well, yeah, there's definitely an intuition that would tell you that.
So I couldn't bring myself to force them to talk about it. If I did, then I'd force them to relive whatever horrors they'd been through. I didn't have any choice. I had to try and ignore it and move on.
Zero's plan seems more and more bizarre as time goes on. He's going to abduct this woman's daughters and have them go through a nonary game and then return them, and then 9 years later kidnap her on the assumption that she hasn't learned anything.
A few months passed. Gradually, they started to act like they always had, before they disappeared. They smiled and made jokes and did all the silly things kids do. It got harder and harder for me to ask them about what happened. How could I ask them to remember that? Eventually, I knew there was no way I could do it.
I mean, that does make sense. It reminds me of when you have kids and your kids fall asleep in the car, and then you like get home and they're asleep in the back seat, and you don't want to wake them up, and then you realize you've been sitting there for like 45 minutes because you don't want to wake your kids up, and now you feel even stupider about it.
But I'm still a mother. I couldn't simply forget that something terrible had happened to my children. So I decided I would investigate what happened on my own. I would find out what happened during those 9 missing days.
What did you find out?
Nothing. The police pretended to be concerned, but they didn't do anything. Once the 16 children who'd gone missing came back, things were just... Even the media didn't talk about what had happened.
That is, I can see that though, because it's not really trying to find a suspect that returned kids. I mean, that's not a sexy headline, guys.
Someone was probably paying or threatening them to keep their mouths shut.
Cradle Pharmaceuticals. No, probably something even bigger than that.
Cradle Pharmaceuticals.
Have you heard of them before?
No. It's the first time I've ever heard that name.
I'm not sure I believe that, but I don't have any reason to disbelieve it either.
7. How did you find out that Cradle Pharmaceuticals was connected to the kidnappings in the first place?
I figured finding out whatever the victims had in common would lead me to the culprit. That's what any good cop does.
What did they have in common?
Every single one of the kids who disappeared had gone to this one hospital at some point.
Interesting.
The hospital was one of a bunch that were under the control of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. After that, it was just about connecting the dots.
The hospital.
The hospital.
The hospital!
For a while, I was trying to get some kind of information out of the kids at the hospital. One of them told a weird story.
What was it?
Have you heard about the ganzfeld experiment?
That is so weird how everyone has this, like, little antidote they tell about
I
memory.
guess all these kids had to go through it while they were at the hospital. I think it was passed off as some sort of counseling.
What did you call it again?
The ganzfeld experiment. Dude, it's like literally right above that. Just look up.
Oh, the ganzfeld experiment. This is how it's set up. First, subjects Q and A are put into separate rooms, far away from one another.
Is that for question and answer?
Then a series of video images are shown to subject Q, who is told to send the images to subject A by thinking about them. Subject A, on the other hand, is put in a large reclining chair and given a blindfold.
All right.
With senses cut off, A is asked to guess what images Q is looking at.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that. It's a famous telepathy experiment, isn't it?
Telepathy.
Another thing that deals with memory, although this one doesn't deal with it deals with the, like, transfer of information across consciousness.
That's how the experiment on this ship was supposed to work.
The experiment to control people, right?
Yeah. I don't know if any of the telepathy stuff really exists, but maybe someone from Cradle Pharmaceuticals bought into it.
Lotus grunted. Sen had been thinking hard for the last several minutes and finally spoke.
Even if that is the case, I still don't get how that has anything to do with any of this. The notary game, Zero, why we were kidnapped.
That is very true, because none of the experiment that's currently going through with what we're going through has to do with the communication of idea without spoken language. Whereas it looks like the 16 kidnapping is all about that. What I'm also thinking about is that we keep hearing these anecdotes about different experiments and things, and for the most part, people are like, yeah, this is an interesting thing. I don't really buy into it, but it's fascinating, or it's fun to think about, or something like that. The only real exception was June. June really seemed to believe in this crap, and that line they just said, maybe someone at Cradle Pharmaceuticals bought into it, makes me wonder if June had something to do with the original one, or if maybe she's one of the kids from 9 years ago. I mean, at this point, 9 years ago, she would probably be about the same age. Maybe that's why she's so interested in it.
What does any of that have to do with telepathy? I know I brought all this up, but I have no idea. Maybe none of this stuff is connected after all.
I don't know. An experiment on this ship 9 years ago and notary games seem awfully damn connected. In that moment of silence.
No subject has been detected. Unless a subject is detected within 60 seconds, all power will be shut down. System recovery is estimated to take 1 hour.
I guess we have to stop talking now.
To proceed with the experiment, please seat subject in the restraining device.
Whoa, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going.
Oh, no, that's not what we...
That's what I meant.
Hurry up and get it over with. Junpei, I'm counting on you.
Right.
Lotus sat down on the chair. Junpei looked at her one last time and then made his way to the monitor.
Lotus, please, tell me right away if you feel anything weird.
You worry too much. Now get on with it and be a man, or June's gonna leave you.
She was putting on the best act she could manage, but her legs were shaking so much if she hadn't been sitting, she likely would have fallen. Failure was not acceptable.
Let's do this.
Let's do it! Once you've done stared at the monitor. What are we trying to do? Again, I don't really know what the... like, some of them have these things, but I don't really know what the purpose is. So there's no buttons on this side. Okay, so these are affecting both sides, so we just have to... I wish I had some metric to do this other than blindly guessing. So that's nearly perfect. Ah. Like, this isn't that great a puzzle, because there's no real rhyme or reason other than press buttons until it works. So right now, that is everything correct, except for that box right there. Hint on this screen does nothing, right? Yeah. I really don't like the fact they call that a hint. It's not really a hint. Okay, well, guys, I will be back when I solve this, and that will be the beginning of the next episode. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. I will see you in the next one.